Hi, I'm John Murray. The purpose of this code review is to highlight how the customer section of the term project web application works. I've called the term project Cinematown. It's a movie rental application. And the customers is just going to show you all of the customers that this business has and then be able to look at the customer details for each of those customers. So first, we're going to start off looking at the model for the model view controller. And we're going to see this customer class is composed of all these different properties that could be integers or strings. But basically, it's going to be like the schema for all the data. It's going to match the schema of the database when we get to implementing that point. So let's look at the controller here. And there's a couple different actions for the customers, like I showed. There was the details action and then the index action, right? And that's represented here. The index action first creates a variable called customers with the get customers private method here. And that's an IEnumerable, which the way I understand it is very much like a list or a vector data type, like in the C++ language. And it creates a new customer data type with all those different parameters that we saw in the model. And these are all just hard-coded, but in the future it's going to be pulled from the database and assembled in this private function so that it can return the model and then show that in the view for each one of these actions. And the details one is very similar, except that it only returns one model where it matches the ID from the URL. And if it doesn't have that, then it will return not found, like 404 not found. But either way, that's going to lead us to the two different views for this section. So the index starts out with a C# section that shows that IEnumerable model. It's like a list, and then just a boilerplate for all the MVC views right here. And then we've got a header for the customers, and it says if there's no customers, we want to say there's no customers yet. Or we're going to create a table that's going to show us all the customers, right? And you see when we hover over it, it has that kind of nice effect. That's with the Bootstrap classes that we've added to the table right here, table hover. And we're going to use C# again to iterate through every item in the model. And each item gets a new row in the table where it's going to create an action link. It's going to display the customer's name, that part of the model, as the actual linked text. And it's going to go to the details action of the customer's controller. And it's going to have an ID that also matches that model's ID, because it's going to look at each item out of the massive model that's going to be sent to this page where it's going to show all of the customers eventually. But these links that it creates in the table take us to the details page, which is what that link was describing. And that details page is very similar, except instead of an IEnumerable, it's just a regular customer model, because it's just the one data type. Well, several different data points of the class, the customer class, that's passed in right there. And then we can see it in all of these different references, and it's going to be dynamic based on that ID that's passed in from this link, right? And we can see that if we just change it to the first one, it'll take us to the first one. And that's also kind of something you can see if you look at the route config and the default route map, it's the controller, which in our case is customers, and then details, and then that index that corresponds with the ID of the actual class. Thank you for watching this code review.